So traditionally, we have linked enabling behavior to addiction. We think about it. It's the spouse that sets the drink limits or tries to get rid of any booze they found around the house to try to stop that other spouse from drinking.
Yep.
They try to control the social events and maybe feel that if they watch them and they hover, they can prevent the person from getting too drunk. Or they allow that partner to only drink certain kinds of liquor because that seems to help, just not the brown stuff. They rationalize that the person they love, when not intoxicated, is worth the treatment they receive when their spouse is intoxicated. Arguments, blackouts, maybe even some DUIs. So that's traditionally how we have maybe defined enabling behavior. You can also look at it from a parental perspective of the parent who is constantly protecting their child from whatever legal issue that they might be facing at the time.
Anytime they might be uncomfortable.
Yes.
Doing their homework so they don't get a bad grade.
Yes.
There's all kinds of enabling going on there.
So that's all the effort is, to prevent someone else from facing the consequences of their actions. But there are so many other ways, and you just referenced a couple of them, that we can kind of expand the definition of enabling behavior. And today, we're going to talk about that. Enabling, what is it? Why would someone do it? And what do you do to change it?
Welcome to Fit Mind Chats. Get comfortable, join us in our virtual office, and get ready to gain insight into motivation that drives behaviors you don't understand. Sarah, hi, I'm stumbling over this already. This is going to be a long one, guys. We are co-owners of Fit Mind Cleveland, a mental health private practice in Cleveland, Ohio, with grounded therapists that are approachable and meet you where you are in life. A place where you can see your strength and grow your greatness. I'm Abby Smeedy, an independently licensed clinical counselor.
And I'm Sarah Delavella, a licensed independent social worker.
So what is enabling? I feel like this is a hot topic in my office.
Good question.
Every week. Enabling behaviors are actions often well-intentioned that shield a person from the consequence of their dysfunctional behavior, such as addiction, irresponsibility. I always think of there's always that person that doesn't want anyone else to be uncomfortable. So lie, borrow, and steal to make sure that doesn't happen. But you've come up with a good list. We also have some titles that we were playing around with too that we're going to throw out there.
Well, so that some people do caretaking, right? They overcompensate through caretaking, and that's a form of enabling. So it's taking responsibilities over. Maybe you're cleaning or you're paying bills for the person. Maybe it's a spouse who is playing video games all night, or that is working, or maybe not working. And this other person should handle this. But they don't. So in order to keep the person from experiencing whatever the failure is, they do those tasks for them.
I think there's a strong element of the feeling of fear.
Huge.
That it's not going to get done. So the anxiety shoots, and then they just do it. And then that person just continues to get enabled not to do any kind of responsible actions. We see this all the time.
Yes.
Protective shielding, rescuing is another one.
Yes.
Preventing natural consequences, such as calling in sick for them, paying legal fees, or covering up mistakes to avoid embarrassment. Parents 101. Parenting 101. This is something I think we all kind of have had some experience with.
Absolutely. I don't know how many fees I paid on behalf of Gianna, who loses things. So I'm gonna admit that I also have hit a lot of the pitfalls of enabling behavior for my daughter. So, if you're not alone, people.
I don't think we're beating up on you.
Nope.
Or I know most of you are sitting out there
judgment.
you're talking about me. We probably are, but we're also talking about ourselves too.
We sure are. We're throwing ourselves in there.
Catching ourselves and allowing the natural consequence to happen. It's painful. Watching your kid blow all their money on something ridiculous instead of saving it or something they might need it later on for. It's painful, but the natural consequences, they don't go on the band trip or they don't get a Cedar Point pass or whatever it might be because they can't afford it. It's painful, but needs to happen. I also think parents jump in with the excuse of, oh, well, then it'll just be my problem then.
Sure. I think so often parents want to rescue and protect their child from being uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah.
I think that is ultimately at the heart of it, is if you can't tolerate your child's distress because you feel so distressed by it, and then you jump in and start solving, you don't realize that you've taken away an opportunity. These are all parenting opportunities for your child to learn something when I lose something, I have to owe.
I pay for it.
And I'm really bummed.
Well, I also think, too, when you do take everything away from them that you are assuming they can't handle, the message they receive is, I can't manage distress. I can't manage when things don't go my way. Yep. I can't manage problems. And that is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, you're not teaching them that they can handle it.
Yeah,
which is
you want to give them the message.
More
you can handle it.
Yes,
you got this.
This is no big deal. But
right?
Yeah, but it's a consequence.
Right, 100%.
There's the denial and minimizing, avoiding conflict. So downplaying the severity of the problem or pretending it doesn't exist to avoid that confrontation. Here is a big one too that I see amongst couples is like one is making excuses for the other. They couldn't come to the dinner tonight because they just had a really bad day at work. This might be covering up for the fact that this person really dislikes maybe any sort of social event with this group of people. But in order to avoid like the conflict, maybe it's the confrontation around, you know what, it seems like your spouse doesn't really like to hang out with us because they're never here. You then bring up like something like, oh, just tough day at work.
Right.
Instead of the difficult conversation. Or even with your spouse being like, you never want to go. Right. You never want to go.
Right.
This is our friends, or it's my friends, or whatever. Right. But you don't want that confrontation, so you just rationalize it and you minimize it.
I think you see this a lot in parenting too. The parent can't stand the thought of the kid having a problem, or maybe not making the team, or not getting the grade that they think they should have gotten. So they jump in to rescue them.
Yes.
And not have conflict around like how the kid's reaction. Because a lot of times it's the kid's reaction that the parent is scared of.
Yes.
Oh my God, this kid's going to flip out. Yeah. They're going to get crazy.
Yes.
We got to weather it.
Yeah, a lot. There's some really great podcasts out there or TED Talks around letting your kids face adversity. You don't have to create it for them.
No, it's
going to come.
It's everywhere.
You just have to allow them to experience failure. Like that's a very important part for anyone of like actually developing confidence and self-esteem. It is that you can go through things, your kids can go through things, and that they can weather it even with all the negative emotion. You teach them negative emotion is part of life.
It is.
Not something to be avoided.
No, because it's more apparent. And I also think like you see this when the kid doesn't, there's an A and B team. Some now schools are like, we got to eliminate the A, B teams. We have to make them equal. No, you don't. Because guess what? That's not how life works. There's an A team, there's a B team. You want to be on the A team, work harder. If you're not that skilled talently, you got to be okay with the B team. Yeah. And that's okay. We've given the message. The kid that like maybe is recommended not to go to the honors classes. Yeah. This is where I think we see it a lot. Gifted. Yeah. Gifted. They have to be gifted. No. Gifted is like 0.05% of people. Not 200 kids should not be in the gifted program. And I feel like parents will fight that. No, they're gifted. What if they're not? Well, you're giving them the message that if you're not like have a higher IQ than a 135, then you're an idiot. That's not true. So I really think, I feel like parents jump in and rescuing and avoiding conflict with the kid.
Yes, they can. Those behaviors are designed to avoid the conflict.
Right.
People do it financially.
Oh, financially.
So they can pay for things. It's maybe the child that is actively in addiction and they still give money, even though they know. Now the child might say, I just needed to pay my rent.
Right.
And then they give them the money and that the person's using it for their drugs. That's a classic.
That's the textbook for sure. The family that pays for like the married couple's house. Maybe the husband doesn't have a job. Maybe the wife, they're struggling financially. Let's buy you a house. Yeah. Yep. And I think that's where I always think of like, wow, like you're teaching them
finance.
Houses are free.
Yes.
You don't have to pay.
And that they don't have to work for maybe or even that you have to live within your means.
Right, yeah.
Like, what do you make for a living?
It might be a one-bedroom apartment in Lakewood. I mean, actually, Lakewood's getting more expensive. It might be a one-bedroom apartment in Cleveland.
Yes.
And I think there's so much benefit of going through that struggle. I remember Jimmy and I lived in this, one of our friends' doubles. Actually, your husband lived above us.
Yes, I know that. Yeah.
We'd sit on the couch and the windows were so bad your hair would blow. Like, it was so cold. But I feel like you have to have that kind of experience to really enjoy, like, wow, I really gratitude for my house and my brand new windows.
Yes,
because
exactly.
You had to live that life, and it's funny now, but like we were in grad school, it's what we could afford. Oh my God,
Chris had we woke up to find a mouse trapped in the toaster. I mean, that's where he was living.
I lived below him. I lived there too.
No offense, it was just disgusting.
It was disgusting.
But again, those are their memories, their experiences. they also make you realize, like, okay, I think I want to make a little bit more money because I'd prefer not to live in a place
I want to
like
do
this.
better.
I do.
I remember my mom saw the house. She was like, oh,
yeah,
this is where you're living? And I'm like, yeah, this is what I can afford.
I'm pretty sure Chris told me, like, don't touch the walls. I'm pretty sure Newcomb peed all over. And I was like, remember Newcomb? Yeah. So Andy Gorski, I know you're out there. Yeah, you listen to us.
Newcomb. I love Newcomb.
And look, here's the thing. It's normal to help people out. Right? Friends, family, kids. Like, we do that. And it's not, that is not in and of itself a rescue behavior. Again, human behavior exists on a continuum. You're going to hear us say that all the time. But if you are trying to prevent the person from experiencing, right, some sort of consequence on a continual basis, you are always bailing them out. You are preventing them from learning a skill.
Absolutely.
So that's something to be.
And I think sometimes people are in so deep, they don't recognize that this is abnormal, unhealthy behavior. If you've enabled your child from the time they came out of the womb, you have no idea that, like, wow, no, you're
There's another way to do it.
There's another way to do it. And that child's going to, butt up against this because you're going to make them kind of stand on their own 2 feet, throw them in the cold water.
Yes.
But like, and I don't mean that literally, but like, it's something you won't even recognize. Like, some people I've had that think it's very normal that their partner drinks excessively and they find hidden bottles everywhere.
And they don't even talk about it.
No, I will stumble upon it when I'm discussing with them, and I'll be like, if you're hiding something, if they're hiding it from you,
that's a sign.
That's a sign that
classic sign
that's
of problem.
Not good. Yeah,
No.
like that would be a sign of like dishonesty. It's a sign that they know that it's a problem.
Yes.
That's a big deal. So I feel like when you're living in it, you just get so used to it. I've had people that have been like, oh, I hate the sound of a beer cap being popped.
Yes.
And that's their trauma with their partner drinking.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, like that's so normal for you that most people don't have that response.
Yes.
Most people can hear something pop and be like, oh.
And they don't have a physiological or emotional
like,
response to it. Yes.
Right? Or like, I've said this before, the teen sleeping with you.
Yes.
People, when they say that, like, there's usually shame and embarrassment to it, but when they're just like, oh yeah, we co-share a bed.
Yeah.
What? Like, and like, that's another enabling behavior because that parent doesn't want to deal with the explosion of having the kids stay in our bed.
Even when kids are like 3, 4, 5 years old.
This is where you want to nip it in the bud right there.
Because it's like, it's just easier. And look, we've all been there.
Oh, yeah.
There have been moments, I remember talking to a client once, and she was like, yeah, I promised a lollipop if she would stay, if my child would stay next to my cart in the grocery store. I said, so did she? No, she didn't. And I go, did you give her the lollipop? Yes, I did. And I was like, okay, so here's the problem with this, right? If you give the reward without expecting them to meet the expectation, you've now created a situation where they don't take you seriously. Oh, she now knows she's going to get whatever she wants, no matter what. Yeah. Intermittent reinforcement. It's basic stuff.
It is.
So to your point, it is really hard sometimes to notice when you are doing it, including that's why we're kind of calling ourselves out. I will call myself out.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how many times I've been like, someone needs to clean the bathroom. My 2 kids. Oh. Clean it up. It doesn't happen. Guess who's cleaning it? I clean it because I get so sick of seeing it. Yeah. And I know I need to stop because I know skills like cleaning is a life skill.
And you don't want them to be disgusting when they go to college.
Oh God, I know.
But then I'm like, I agree. I've enabled in the bathroom as well.
Oh, bathrooms gross me out.
I know, they gross me out too.
And my kids know, let it get to a certain point and I will do it. I swear they know it.
Oh, they know. Well, they have friends over, I'm always like, clean the bathroom.
Yes.
Your friends are going to go home and talk about like that moldy tub. Yeah, how disgusting we are. The mold that's growing in your sink. That's going to be a hot topic at lunch. Like, you need to clean it up. But then my ego gets in the way and I get worried like, oh my God, what if they tell their mom and I've got mold in my sink?
My own ego.
Yeah.
Same.
And that's when you jump in. Yeah, I'm embarrassed. Why am I embarrassed for your sink? Come look at my sink.
I know.
My sink's nice.
Okay, I'm not going to lie. My sink is really gross right now. So having said that,
my sink does get gross.
My sink does get gross. So does my bathroom. I mean, look, it is what it is. The whole point being, right, if you are afraid to ask someone about something, that's conflict avoidance.
Yeah.
That is a really good indicator to you. If I always ask someone, so why didn't you bring it up? What stopped you from going to the person and bringing it up? Why don't you ask your child to like vacuum? Right? I just don't want the fight. If that's your answer,
it's just easier if I do it.
That's a warning sign. It is. It's just easier.
And then if you say that, enabling behaviors.
That's it.
And I think like a lot of times anxiety drives the enabling behaviors. The enabler gets so anxious about the person they're enabling being uncomfortable or not getting something done or getting a bad grade or not being successful,
Yep.
they will go to ends of the earth to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yep.
They won't allow the natural consequence. We talk about it a lot in therapy with parents. Always like natural consequence, natural consequence, natural consequence. If your kid is not showering and you're begging them to shower and you're wasting a lot of time on this, let them be stinky. Because guess what's going to change that behavior? When kids start not wanting to eat lunch with them or sit with them, or they call them stinky and they're gross. No one wants the stinky kid. But you know what? I would never judge that because I'd be good for that parent. They're not enabling that behavior. They're like, okay, you're going to stink, and then people are going to tell you stink.
Well, yeah, right. Or it's like they want to wear like their nightgown to school. My little cousin wanted to wear a nightgown to school with cowboy boots. My aunt let her. And guess what happened? She never did it again.
She got made fun of.
She got made fun of.
Yeah. So, I mean, kids, I always stand by this. Like, my kids, it is great. When little kids are at the park, like if you have little kids out there, watch at a play park. They have a great natural order. The moms and dads get involved and they ruin the order. If someone takes someone's truck away, that kid's going to come back with them and be like, no, mine. They're going to snatch it out of their hands. They might shove. Mm-hmm. But that other kid's going to give it back. But we all jump in like, oh, we can't have the aggressive kid. Oh, we can't have the kid. You need to share. You need to share that. Us telling that is not going to change the behavior. That kid grabbing that truck back and be like, oh, no, you don't. Yeah. That's going to change the behavior.
Love and logic.
It's love and logic. It is. I'm a big love and logic fan.
Yes.
But I also think, like, watch on the playground. Like, the kids will figure it. They'll fight about a swing. Let them fight about the swing. Yeah. They will naturally problem solve
it. Let them problem solve it.
Lord of the Flies. Read the book. Read the book, Lord of the Flies. I don't want to go to that extreme.
They're not going to, like, eat each other.
They're not going to eat each other. Go to that extreme. But, like, they build this order up and they go to an extreme. But
we don't want to solve all their problems.
Absolutely not. I like to give them some problems. I do give some problems.
Yes. So it's the oops, I did it again.
For them.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's a good title.
It is. And like, I feel like I hear this a lot, like, homework. Mm. I just wrote the paper for them. You did what? You wrote the paper for them. I had a parent that was upset that they wrote the paper and they got a C on the paper. They weren't upset that they enabled the kid. They were upset they got the C. And I was like, I'm going to rewind that back. Yeah. You know what I'm upset about? Why would you write the paper?
Don't write the paper.
Because, well, my son wasn't going to do it. And I will tell you.
Let him not do it.
Let him not do it. And it's really hard. My son, Ethan, has always had a really high GPA. He has worked his butt off. He really hasn't. He does the bare minimum, but he's always been able to slide through. Yes. Who am I lying to here? I'm lying to myself. He's always been able to, he always turns stuff in. All he had to do was turn stuff in, maybe listen in class, and he could get pretty decent grades. This year, he has been like, I don't turn things in. Yeah. I'm not doing that. So we watched a really high GPA come down to a decent GPA. But like, I'm just like, you're throwing away all the work you've done for 3 years. Why are you doing this? I was up his butt for the first 8 weeks, 9 weeks, 12 weeks of class of school. And it was driving me crazy. Yeah. The more I harped and looked at Power School my blood would boil and I'd go down the basement, the less he would do. Ooh. And he was like, back off. And I'm like, I can't trust you that I back off. Then I'm giving the message like, oh, you need mommy here to support this. The best thing I did, hardest thing I've ever done, is I stepped back and he's gotten an F on a test. He's got multiple zeros. I'm not bragging about this.
No.
But like, you know what? Like,
consequences.
It is the natural. And like, I noticed like last quarter, the last 2 weeks, I don't like boom, boom, boom. He turned stuff in so he didn't get any Fs. Like he kept his grade point at what probably he thinks is an okay. But you know what? Great. It's just a number. It's just a number, man. I won't let a number define me. Okay, friend, guess what? The number defines how much money you get from college. Sadly.
I know, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, that's the way it works. But like, hardest thing I've ever done. I mean, like, I still cannot look at Power School but not my job.
I know.
You take that away and like, now you're in charge of your grades.
I absolutely need to stop waking up my kids when they're not waking up from their alarm. I'm calling myself out because I know I talked to another friend about this and I was like, oh, it's good. She was really like setting her own alarm. And I am talking about my 17-year-old guys. Okay. So, and then I'm like, you got to get up. And I just start doing it. It's easier for me. So again, I know I'm enabling. I got to let her be late.
And let the zero in the first period.
She's going to have to.
Not calling him in. It's hard.
I know.
Ethan the other day overslept and like he texted me. He's like, "You call me in?" I was like, no.
No, I'm not.
I heard you roll upstairs at 1 a.m. Like, I mean, he was in the house.
Yes.
Doing whatever in the basement.
Yeah.
No, you rolled up at 1 a.m. No, you're late because you're late.
I know.
I'll call them and tell them, hey, he's late because he overslept.
And here's the thing.
Punishment as you may.
Yes. This is why therapy can be helpful and or accountability partners. If you know you're doing this, it is nice to check in with someone, say the problem out loud, acknowledge your role in it. It does help to acknowledge your role in it and then be like, you know what? I am doing more harm than good. It is an issue of me. It is me. It's my anxiety.
It's my anxiety.
I have to manage that better. And I've got to be okay with the tardies, lates, whatever they are.
Look at bad grades.
Let her deal with it. It's either now or in college.
Oh, God.
So why not it be now?
Yeah.
I think college is going to be a more important place anyway.
I agree. Supportive or sabotage, you decide. I'll fix it for you again.
Yeah.
This is what I think of, like the chronic bailing out of jail.
I know.
Getting out of jail, paying for the lawyer.
Yep.
Paying the court costs.
Yep.
Paying the fees for your kid or your spouse or your partner.
Or a friend.
Yeah.
Whomever.
Like you're constantly bailing them out. And you're enabling that behavior. They're not learning from that behavior.
No.
Actually, I had a kid that was arrested, and part of his restitution was he had to write a public apology.
Yeah.
The mom wrote it.
No.
Because you know what? He wasn't doing it fast enough. He wasn't going to get it done in time.
And look, we get it, but you got to let him.
I get it too, and I'm like, do you think they were going to put him in jail because he didn't turn the letter in? They may have made him clean some buses. I don't know.
Sure.
Maybe clean the side of a highway.
Maybe it's extended it because he didn't get something done.
Right.
I don't know, but it's again, it's low stakes. We keep talking about that. It's lower stakes.
Let a judge yell at him about
yes.
writing a letter.
Maybe you get to be then the supportive other that goes, sounds like you need to write that letter.
Right. That sucks. You didn't write that letter.
Sucks.
Oh.
I think that's the hardest part, maybe about parenting, is being able to truly you have to unenmesh your emotional state from your child. You have to do that in a marriage too. You have to do that with your friends. You cannot take on their emotions as your own. We call that an emotional enmeshment style. And that contributes to enabling behaviors, right? Is that you can't say, those are your feelings. You are responsible for them. Here are my feelings. I am responsible for those. It is an enmeshed state. It is where your feelings overlap. You can't tell the difference between whose is what.
Yes.
Whether it's your spouse, you don't know where yours are and his begin, or it is your child. Enmeshed states are not healthy for anyone.
No.
Create the boundary between what is yours and what is mine.
Right.
And what you are responsible for and what I am responsible for.
Right.
Boundaries are another great way to start to combat your enabling behaviors.
And it will make your life easier. If you want the kid that's constantly calling you from work because something happened, their supervisor had a talking to. Yeah. They don't like the area they were given, whether it be like, oh, you're a cashier, or oh, you're on this floor tonight, whatever it might be. And that's going to make you crazy. You want to stop it. They need to be able to manage that at work. So it might not be not picking up the phone. Then I get this excuse all the time. Well, what if something happened? An emergency. Okay, well, the little boy that cried wolf, I would have had this conversation with the person, your child, and be like, hey, one time you're going to need me, and you've called me so many times for really minor things I believe you can manage.
Yes.
I'm not going to answer.
Yes.
I'm going to go to sleep.
Yes.
I'm going to not wake up.
Yeah.
Just to solve your life crisis. So I think that boundary is really important. That happens, I think, in college a lot. Oh, yeah, she called me at 3 on our way home from the bars. But, I wanted to make sure she got home safe. Well, fantastic. There's campus security. Do we teach her to walk with friends and stay with friends? There's no need. She was crying about her night or whatever it might be, but you've got to set the boundary. You're not going to get sleep either. And also you're giving the message or him, I'm sorry. I don't want to be gender biased here.
Right.
Hey, you can't handle this. You need me to jump in and handle it. No.
It's where boundaries are helpful. You start saying things like, hey, if it's non-emergency, text me. If it's an emergency, call me. Yeah. Here's what an emergency looks like, right? It's that's one way to handle it. So you can go, if you really need me right then and there, a phone call is the best way. I will pick up if it's a phone call. If it's an emergency. If it's not an emergency, I will stop doing that because now I don't know the difference.
Right.
So again, let's triage this. Let's do text message so that I can read it and I can go, oh, okay.
I didn't like my outfit tonight. It looks crazy. No one talked to me.
I need to talk to you tomorrow, Mom. Had a really rough night.
Yeah.
Got it. Let's talk tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll be there for you.
I'll be up and ready.
Yeah.
This is another one I'm like, congratulations, you created a monster.
Oh, yeah.
I have conversations all the time with parents or like, friends even be like, like we don't nip this in the bud. When that kid hits puberty, it is going to be so hard because they're going to be a monster. They're going to temper tantrum. They're going to try to control by having bad behavior, aggression. Like they'll punch a hole in the wall. They'll kick things. They might just punch the wall. It's not okay to punch a wall. Yeah. The parents are paralyzed by the fear of how that child is going to react.
Yes.
And it's literally, congratulate, you create a monster. Like, how are they going to live in college if they can't accept no and they can't listen to directives and they're not teachable or coachable or whatever it might be? Where are they at? Like, now we have to do this in adolescence, which is it's a process because that kid's going to fight because they know if they fight hard enough, they're going to wear you down.
And they're bigger.
They're bigger, yeah.
Much bigger.
You can't pick them up and just put them in the car seat.
It's a much easier process from a younger, smaller age than it is when you have a full-blown, grown teenager in front of you or adolescent, where it is, they can run away. They can literally go out the front door and run away.
And they can tell you no, and they can
they can shut
disagree, and like be like, I'm not doing that. You can't make me. They might even say they're just not going to do it. They do their own thing. They actually think they're right. And they think they know more than the coach, or they think they know more than the teacher. This is such a good indicator. When I hear kids say this, I cringe. They're like, oh, like, I remember we were at a party and one of my friend's daughters who said this, and she's like, oh, that kindergarten teacher's like, she didn't like me because I was way smarter than she was in kindergarten. No, you were not. No, you were not. This is why you have no friends, because you're unlikable because of this situation. And no one nipped that in the bud. No one told you, hey, you know what? You weren't smarter than that kindergarten teacher. You weren't. Like, sometimes you have to have hard conversations. Like, you didn't win the spelling because you're not the best speller. Or you didn't make, I don't know, the basketball team. That seems to be like, there's 110 kids that try out for 10, 12 spots. You weren't good enough. And that's okay. But a kid that's never heard no or never had a boundary or anything set in place, they lose their minds. And there's a parent scrambling, like, how much does it cost? How much can I pay you? I need them to be in this league, or I need them to be on this team. What do we do? And then when the parent can't control it, now you got to deal with the kid.
Yeah, the hard part is when your child is doing that, blaming someone else, it is really helpful to validate, like, I get that you're feeling really bad, and I totally get it.
It's hard.
It is never easy not to make a team that you want. It really sucks. However, all right, let's look at it. What can you do about it? Is it something you want to do again next year? What could you do in the meantime? Do you even want to try? I'm not sure it's so much about the person who, right, you're just feeling so hurt and unhappy. It's easier just to kind of blame them.
The coach is wrong.
Yeah.
The teacher's stupid.
Yes.
They give me a C on my paper. They don't know what they're doing.
Right. And it's a defense mechanism.
It is, absolutely. No one likes to be told, like, you're not good enough. But like a
or
kid
you didn't
that's
make it. You just didn't make it.
You didn't make it. Yeah. Like, you weren't good enough to make that team.
Yes.
And that's life in a nutshell. And as kids I think this is why I think sports is fantastic. When kids are coming up, I don't think everyone gets a trophy, though. I don't agree with those sports because it's not how life works. But I feel like, like sporting teams, clubs, different things that they might do. Theater, dance, where, I mean, you get cut.
Yes.
But learning that experience to be like, oh, I'm really sad about this. I really felt like I did a great job. Yep. Yeah, valid. Yep. But you know what? I'm going to have to find something else to do, or I'm going to have to do stage crew, or I'm going to have to go with the lesson choir. Yeah.
Maybe I up my, I'm going to sing more.
Maybe I go get sing lessons.
Maybe I go get, and I learn dancing differently because I think maybe my dancing skills aren't on par. Like, those are life lessons. That's the reality, is that we don't always get every job we apply for.
Oh, absolutely.
We don't have the skills that other people have. We have to work for them.
That's so true.
Put in a lot of effort to
I think, like, those are big things. Those are enabling behaviors. And we could do another one on this. We have a couple more, and we're running out of time.
Oh, we sure are. So here's kind of lastly, just kind of remind yourself, how do we stop these kinds of things? 1, awareness is the key. 2, we work on assertiveness training, because part of it is an avoidance of, like, conflict. So once you learn how to assert yourself, you can hopefully then gain in the confidence that conflict is not a bad thing. I can weather the storm. They're going to have a tantrum. They're going to fight me on it. And it's going to be okay. And I can do it. The more you practice it, the better you get at it. Support groups like Al-Anon help you set boundaries. Boundaries are huge. So if you are in a situation where you might have someone who is drinking too much or using other substances too much, they teach you principles like detach with love. Right. And also how to focus on what you actually have control over and what you don't have control over. Right. So there we go.
So, okay, guys, thanks for tuning in to today's episode of Fit Mind Chats. We'll see you next Monday for another session. If you have a question or topic covered, or you want covered, follow us on Facebook, Fit Mind Cleveland, and message us.
If you'd like to seek out therapy services, go to our website, fitmindcleveland.com, and contact us. If you would please leave us a rating or review and share our podcast with family, friends, enemies, or anyone that needs it. We want to bring mental health access to all the people that can benefit.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a good week.